kindergarten through 8th grade, and we have about 172 students in our entire school. So what prompted me to take this opportunity was recognizing that we have a disproportionately high number of students that have diagnosis of ADD, ADHD, students on the autism spectrum, students with emotional behavior disorder in our school. About 16% of our students in our school have these diagnoses. So looking at this, I just see the kids looking at me, and they need to get up and they need to move, and we do plenty of movement in my classroom, but sometimes it's just not enough. So this opportunity arose, and I took the chance to take it. So when applying, I took data on these students, and I found that I observed them for 3 dates, and of these 28 students that have all of these things that I just mentioned, there were 107 instances of off-task or unfocused behavior, 21 instances of emotional outbursts like crying, screaming, hitting, kicking, things like that, 74 instances of restless hyperactivity. And so through the use of flexible seating, I hope to help the students channel those energies into more positive things. So I worked with our FMD teacher at our school to get on abilitations.com to look at the things that they have there, because she has students on the autism spectrum in her class, and she has a seat that looks kind of like this. And I don't know if you can see that, but it has like bumps on it, and it's got textures, and they respond really well to that kind of thing. Like they do really well with that kind of sensory input, so I was inspired by that. I went with wobble stools, like some for each size, because I have kindergarten, intermediate, and middle school students. I went with bagel seats. I went with like disc seats, wedge seats, bean-filled cushions, pillows for the floor, or we could put them on our chairs. We will be keeping some of the chairs, even though we do have these flexible seating options. But I didn't go with the yoga balls that everybody knows about, because my room is kind of small, and also with students with these emotional problems, and we use scissors because I teach art too, so I just could like imagine them just stabbing the yoga balls. So I just want them to last longer than that, you know. Flexible seating is also research-based, so the goal is for the students to be able to use the flexible seating to expend their excess energy and use their feelings in different ways without disrupting the class or their own learning. And students with sensory processing difficulties may choose seats with different textures, and will be taught to use these textures and movements as an outlet rather than hitting or yelling. So I really like it because it empowers the students, because they feel like they have a sense of choice. Like they get to choose where they sit in the class. It promotes movement. So studies show that students have short bursts of movement in the classroom are more academically engaged, and we know that because we use Go Noodle already. You know, we stand up, we take brain breaks, but this is just an extension of that. It promotes like comfort in our classrooms. Students sitting in hard chairs, it's kind of similar to not eating breakfast, it's similar to not getting enough sleep. So this is another level of having students have more comfort. It promotes community and sharing rather than students being very possessive of their own space since they're moving around and changing seats. It promotes collaboration. Since they will be moving around and changing seats from day to day, then they will be in different groups day to day. So there will be a more collaborative element there. And then it promotes a commitment to learning. So it's shown that by making the room ours, like mine and theirs, rather than the way that I just want it, that they will have a higher commitment to learning, which I'm really excited about. And we talked about sensory processing, which I'm really happy for. I'm happy for the kids to be able to let some of that steam out, basically. And I want to make learning exciting for them in another way. I already really like my subject area, and a lot of the kids do too. But this is another way that they can look forward to coming to my class. So this has been student-led, and ever since I realized that I got the grant, I got together with the students, and we talked about, like, students at every level from kindergarten through 8th grade were able to think of problems that would arise. So kindergarten level, they thought about arguing over seating and things like that. Middle schoolers, they thought that they would be touching each other if they were sitting too close together. And, you know, those things were true. So we created rules together. Like, if students showed consistent disrespect for the rules, like arguing, or if they were falling asleep on these new comfortable seats, or if they were damaging it, or if they were touching each other consistently, then there would be no flexible seating for that student. And we all agreed. The intermediate students thought that I should be able to have the power to move a student to a new flexible seating option if it became a problem, and the other groups agreed, so we added that to the rules. And then the next step in our project is to design where we want to put the stuff, and we haven't gotten any of our stuff yet, so that's the next step. We're going to, since I have all the groups, there's basically one class per grade level, so I'm going to have them in groups, and there's going to be probably sections of 4 students, and they will probably rotate around and have rotate that way, so it'll be fair. And the way I know it works is that I've had my student data here. I don't have names or anything. I just have them coded, you know, student 1, student 2, and I'll compare that data to data after I get the flexible seating, put procedures in place, give it a test run, and by April, then I will compare that data to this data and see if that really is effective to keeping them engaged throughout my class. But I'm really excited for this. I think that it's super needed for these kids with a lot of energy and sensory processing issues. So thank you for listening.